There is a brand new action film that'll be hitting Netflix this weekend and will end up being #1 on the charts, and then you'll never hear about it again because that's the kind of movie that this is going to be. So if you're really interested to hear my thoughts on this, let's get to it. Welcome back, film fans. It is Brad from Let's Be Real Brad, and today on the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new Netflix original action comedy film called The Man from Toronto, as it would be Man from Toronto if I didn't have a Boston accent. The film is directed by Patrick Hughes, as it stars Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson in the lead roles. The world's deadliest assassin and New York's biggest screw-up are mistaken for each other at an Airbnb rental. The Man from Toronto is a film that has gone through a lot in the past couple of years, mainly due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as this movie was supposed to be released in cinemas on November 24th in 2020, and then this movie's release date got changed like 5 million times, still being in cinemas, but then Netflix got the distribution rights for this film after Sony sold it to them, and now that we have it on June 24th on Netflix, and I think that it tells everything about this movie because this movie was an absolute train wreck. This is one of the most boring, bland, cookie cutter, dull, and most crowd-pleasing type of movie I have seen in quite some time, as everything about this movie is literally a trope that you have seen in some sort of action comedy movie in the past, as there is not a single element about this movie that even feels original, fresh, or even tries to have its own style. The whole concept and feel of this movie feels like it was made in a factory by Sony and then it was put on Netflix, as there is just no feel to this movie. Let's just dive right into the negatives first, and I gotta start with the performances first because Kevin Hart is just so bad in this movie. I'm not a massive fan of Kevin Hart, as he essentially plays himself in literally every single movie. He is just so annoying and plays the stupid guy who gets caught up in a situation. Jason Statham was originally casted into this film and actually left 6 weeks into filming because of the tone and the rating and what the filmmakers were going for in this movie. And it's pretty obvious because this character is essentially Jason Statham at what he's good at, a brood, quiet, really go-getter type of person. When you have Woody Harrelson in a role like this, I think he's doing the absolute best that he can because he really is a talented actor, but combine that with the fact that it was not supposed to be his role, and they basically just kept the Jason Statham type of character and a really bad screenplay. Woody Harrelson doesn't have a lot to do in this movie, and I really think this movie would have been a lot better if it was Jason Statham. Everybody else in this movie is really bad and really forgettable, as I didn't know any of the other actors in this movie except the girl from Big Bang Theory, but she's hardly in this movie as well. This film features a $75 million budget, and that is pretty decent for an action film, but it's still considerable enough to have a good looking film, and this movie just looks so awful, especially the airplane scene that was so laughably bad. I had to rewind the movie like 3 or 4 times just to laugh and make fun of how awful it looked. But the biggest crime that this film commits is the screenplay, because it is so awful. This film features some of the most cringiest, awful, dull jokes that I have heard in a very long time, as not a single joke landed for me in this movie. This movie features one of the worst stories I have seen for an action movie in quite some time, and it's not because this movie is just straight up terrible. Well, I guess it is, but it's the fact that this movie is so safe and easygoing, and it doesn't even try to do anything different or interesting. It feels like it was so corporate and studio made, just trying to make some money without any single effort to this movie. I also found the technical aspects of this movie to be really bad, as the score is so bland and so bad that you wouldn't even tell that the guy who created the Game of Thrones music created this music as well. So that should just tell you how bad the music is. I also found the action scenes to be so bad, as it's so clumsily shot, as it just looks like no one's actually fighting, as it looks like they're just going through the motions that they're supposed to do. Like, it's just so weird and strange looking, especially the fact that there's not a lot of action in this movie, which you would expect from a movie like this. And the final positive I have with this film is one that isn't a real positive, but it's just the fact that this is a movie that a lot of people are going to enjoy, as it features Kevin Hart and all the funny jokes that you would expect from him if you were a big fan of Kevin Hart, and the fact that this is a really easygoing movie that doesn't try to offend anybody. It goes exactly the way you think it's going to go. It's very cookie cutter, and if you really enjoy this movie because it's a simple, easy action movie, then I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Overall, guys, The Man from Toronto is a really bad action film that is just so boring to watch. It is completely uninteresting. It features really bad performances. The action is beyond mediocre. That this is one of the most forgettable #1 Netflix movies that you're going to watch this year. I'm giving The Man from Toronto a 4 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review, as I want to know below in the comments section, what are some of the worst action movies you have seen in your entire lifetime? I need to hear about those below. Before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.